Joe Biden is rolling out the red carpet. He's hosting the president of the Philippines next month. This man, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the timing of his visit is extremely important. The US and the Philippines held their biggest war games last month. They also signed a new treaty. What does it say? That the US can use 9 military bases in the Philippines. Earlier they had access to 5, now they have access to 9. But the Filipino government did have a warning for Washington. Don't bring weapons that could be used to defend Taiwan. Your soldiers are welcome, your big guns are not. What explains this warning? In one word, China. Beijing has always objected to the treaty between the US and the Philippines. They say it's a plan to meddle in the Taiwan Strait. It could be, but Manila and Washington have denied it. They say the treaty is not aimed at a third country. A third country? Meaning China. So what's all the fuss about? To understand that, let's first look at the Philippines' location. It's about 1,000 kilometers from Taiwan. It's also a key part of the first island chain. Quick side note, the island chain is a US policy aimed at boxing in China, to cut them off from the wider ocean. It's the biggest nightmare for military brains in Beijing. So that's why the Philippines is important. Now to the politics. Historically, they have been allies of the US. Manila, they've been allies of the US. In fact, it's a strange relationship. America started off as a colonial power in the Philippines. They bought the country from Spain. They bought it for $20 million. Despite that, relations never soured. A mutual defense treaty was signed in the year 1951. A base sharing agreement was signed in 2014. The same one that was expanded last month from 5 bases to 9. Today, the Philippines is a major non-NATO ally, America's longest treaty partner in Asia. But China came out of syllabus. There are two parts to China's relations with the Philippines. One is trade. China is the Philippines' largest trading partner. It has also invested some $3 billion in the country, and Manila needs that money. The second part of the relationship is the territorial fights. China claims most of the South China Sea. They also send PLA warships into disputed waters. Last year, Manila sent around 200 protests to Beijing on the same issue. 200. No luck. The intrusions continued. So how do you describe this relationship? Probably a bad marriage. Manila needs Beijing's trade and money. At the same time, it hates the territorial claims. Which brings us to President Marcos Jr. His foreign policy mission is friends to all. He visited China in January. He will now be visiting the US in May. The idea is to balance both the powers. But that's easier said than done. There is a tug-of-war underway for the Philippines. China wants them to dump the US. The US wants them to come even closer. Last year, Joe Biden announced a $4 billion package for Manila. The promise is to create 100,000 jobs in the country. Ideally, this would be great news for President Marcos Jr. Just play the US and China against each other, get the best of both the worlds. But the problem is his country's location. China's territorial claims will not disappear, whatever he does. Neither will the tensions around Taiwan. So both Beijing and Washington need Manila's support for specific reasons. America to keep a watch on Taiwan. Who knows, maybe even mount a military attack from there or a defense from there. And China to break free from the island chain. So Marcos Jr.'s options are limited. Embracing either country is diplomatic suicide. Only the dangerous middle path remains.